Since I've put the battle sequence test out, it's still only in alpha stage, but I thought I'd talk you guys through what I'm up to here, and maybe it's interesting for some of you. Now, if you go to the latest build, Test Battle will have a little button on the side here, on your beta branch. And what we're trying to do here is I'm trying to simulate the feel of the Act 8 end battle. I felt it didn't have the necessary level of kind of epicness. The video tries to achieve that, but I think it still could have done better. And so I decided to set this up. We've got Katie and Emily and their respective fists kind of anchoring the end. We have Aoife moving around as she wants, Val, and we have Aoife moving around with Keith and Matthew. Now, at any one time you got one selected, but at the same time you can also quick select others to get them out of trouble. Valerie, because she is flying, does not have to respect the boundaries of collision volumes. Aoife, on the other hand, has to. Back to your spot. I'll be including Greg if you had the right, if you'd already finished the quest and he has his GAU 8. Otherwise, you're not getting Greg. He's kind of set up for an enfilade situation here. Now, Aoife has these active spells. And these are the buttons there or activated here. In this case, we've left behind an explosive glyph, and when they enter in, they get a little surprise. Emily's got the ability to shield, as does Aoife. Val can move out on the side, harass them. Aoife, oops. And then finally we have the Gurkhas, who have no active skills, but they do have rapid fire weapons that every time someone gets into the range, they'll open fire, which is more or less the feeling I wanted. MC also has Bella kind of running around with him. Molly and Kath don't have abilities yet. They're eventually going to. Kath has a defensive bonus. Kath has a defensive bonus, and Molly has an offensive bonus. So everyone around inside her range, inside that range, gets a massive bonus. So that's the general plan. I wanted to have a mix of active and passive skills. So Val, for example, does not have any active skills because she's basically like a light flanker. She attacks relatively often, but not for a lot of power. So she's good to kind of just drift along the edge, put somewhere to just harass people as they come. MC has a pretty large range attack. He's got a very long range, which I wanted. And with Emily shielding him, he's relatively tough as well. And the GAU has a 90 points damage, and it fires very slowly. Now, one of the things I'm dealing with is trying to balance this a little bit. And if you look at it, right now a lot of things do 90% damage. That's because the demons, once they get in here, have 100 points. So I wanted to have fewer attacks that kill them outright, more attacks that kind of let you play with them a little while. There's still a lot of balancing, a lot of tweaking and stuff to do, but hopefully you guys find this interesting. As you see here, he can't actually go any further up here because that roadside is blocking him. And the same thing goes for the enemies that will eventually come out here. I've set them to come a little bit later this time because I wanted to be able to talk first. But in the full game, they'll come relatively fast. Let's see. They're going to be about here. And you can see this one charges up to show when it's going to be ready. Val triggers without us asking anything. Katie has a lot of offensive power, but slightly less range because her uncle is with her. Notice you can either use the button here or the button here. That'll also set up that. And then we have Keith firing much the same way as Val does. You don't get that, let's go. Huh. I need to see what went wrong there. I should have hit them. So, it's still very much work in progress, and hopefully it'll eventually make sense once I'm done with it. But once it's ready, I hope to be able to use this a lot more in other sequences in the game, both by adding kind of random smaller fights that are optional, where Rear Admiral Snowdrop tells you about enemies they found, but also for bigger sequences in the game itself. Yeah, he's definitely been broken. Deal with that later. So anyway, hopefully that's interesting. We'll see when it's done. I guess that's going to take a little bit of time. I probably will not finish this before the end of Act 8 plus, because I've only got one more conversation and I don't want to hold it up while I polish this thing here. But I hope to get Act 8 plus done today, and then I'll spend some more time testing this guy here out and playing with it. So hope you enjoyed that.